Good morning, everybody. So this is a scheme of work that I like to call Steampunk bugs. So the idea came a couple of years ago, and I've just got around to doing all of the examples and everything. So eventually you'll end up with like a nice black and white drawing showing the steampunk era. So all of the little cogs and everything will be embedded in the bug. Start off by drawing some bugs. So here's some examples that I've done using all different media. So you can see that there I've just done like a splash of paint. There, that's like a scruffy black drawing, just using a little bit of felt pen. This one here is like a really messy watercolour with splashes, and then I've just gone over the top neatly with black pen. This one is loads of different splashes of watercolour. I've just let them bleed into one another, and then I've drawn over the top with black pen. This one is just watercolour, and what I've done is I've just been really delicate and I've just let them all softly bleed into one another whilst they're all different kind of water variants. This one here, that's just pencil with a little splash of pencil crayon here and there, and then that little one there, I just tried to fit that one in. I don't really like that one because it's a little bit squashed up, but that's watercolour with pen. I think I prefer this one, so I might do a large example of that on a further video, but this is going to be your extension task, to have a go at drawing them with different media. But just for now, what I want you to do is I want you to find a bug, and I want you to just have a go at drawing it like I'm going to draw it here. So I'll just put the camera like that so that you can see where I'm going with this symmetrical line. A bit irritating. So what you want to do, first of all, is when you're looking at a bug, they are normally like 9 times out of 10 symmetrical. So I'm just really lightly going to draw a line like so. And then once I've got that line on there, I know that each side of it is going to be exactly the same. So I've just chosen a bug here. Oh, my screen's just gone dead. So I've just chosen a bug here with wings and everything, just so that I can show you how to plan it out. What we're going to do is we're going to do the head here. And then got a little pincer there. And then his main body. I think that's called the abdomen. What I've had before as well is I've had students kind of amalgamate many bugs, which is pretty good. So if you like the wings of one bug and you like the horns of another bug, feel free to kind of switch and change. I think this one here is the bug's body coming open. And then the bug's wings just go right up to the top like so. So I did this scheme of work with my year 8s this year, and they really enjoyed it. We had some really good good examples. So some students like to do the wings open and some of the cogs coming out. Some of the students like to do the cogs as the actual insect itself. One student actually did her cat as the topic, so completely jumped off the insect idea and just did a cat, which was pretty good. So once again, I'm just going to try and keep that as symmetrical as possible. Okay, and then lastly, we're just going to put the legs in there. So look closely at the legs that you're drawing, please. I want to see all the detail that you can get in. And then just to make your picture look really neat, try and keep it, once again, symmetrical if you can. So I've got the legs on the bottom, and I'm just going to put the legs in at the top. Okay, so now I've got my legs, I've got the shell of the bug that's opening up. I think it's kind of like a beetle, and then the wings coming open, and then there's the actual bug itself with the abdomen. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to split that up again, and I'm just going to have another shape there. And then I'm just going to try and make that one a little bit more symmetrical. And then, last of all, you're just going to get rid of your symmetrical line because you don't need it anymore. Get rid of any lines that you don't need. If you've been quite scruffy like me, you can see here, look, I've done like multiple lines. Just try and get rid of them, and just try and just have one line where you can. Because some of those lines, you never know, might pop up later on when you're adding your pen. Okay, what I'll do is I'll add a little section here and show you how I would do the shading, and then you can crack on by yourself. But let me just find really quickly. So this one here, you can see that I've kept with the symmetrical kind of idea, but this is a really, really basic drawing. So you can see that there's not actually that much shading on top of that. The only thing that makes this stand out and look, well, in my eyes, I'm not being big-headed, but in my eyes, I love this one just because I love all the bleeds, and all that is ink. So I use Parker Quink. It's like this, and it is literally the stuff that you just chuck in the pens. You can get it for about £2 on Amazon. And what I do is I put 3 or 4 cups down with little bits of water in, and then I just use the water with a tiny bit of quink, and then when it's dried or when it's drying, I just put in a different amount of quink plus water. A little tap like that, and then they just splash. As you can see, I've done the same with the watercolours there. I don't know why, I just really like that. Another drawing here is of like a, I don't know, a wasp, a fly. The only difference is with these, you can see a slight difference, can't you? One of them I'm using like a biro pen, and one of them I'm using a fine liner. So a biro pen, which is this one, you get that kind of, you can see this kind of scruffiness, yeah, and I kind of like that. Let's bring those eyes out a little bit more, and then with a fine liner, you can see here, you can get in really close and try and do these little shaded bits using cross hatching and scumbling and stippling. You can use pretty much anything with a fine liner, actually. It's a really good tool. So if you have fine liners, please have a go at using them. But I know the majority of you don't have fine liners, so what I am going to do is I'm just going to start shading this in areas with a biro pen. I'll do it for 5-10 minutes so that I get a little section done, just like I did in my anthropomorphism videos. I'll show you kind of how to do it, but I'm not going to do the whole thing because the video will just last forever. Just remember as well, a little extension task for you. Whilst I'm thinking, you can just chuck it in wherever you want. Obviously, I've drawn this with a fine liner, but it's a close-up of a bug, and you can see that I've chosen the dictionary sheet where the word insect is. I just thought that might be a nice little extra. But I will put another video on about extension tasks, but let's stick with lesson 1 for now, alright? So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how I would do a little bit of shading using just a biro pen. So if any of you haven't watched my anthropomorphism video, that's a really good example of just showing you how to understand where the light's coming in. So you can see here, I'm just kind of, same as you would with a pencil, I'm just going really dark on one side and then not so dark on the other side, okay? And I'm just going to continue that with every one. I'm just going to break that up again. And also as well with insects, what looks really good is if you just poke little hairs out like that, just to make it look like you are looking at that finer detail. Okay. What I'm going to do now, so I've done the shading on one side, now I'm going to break it up into all different sections. So you can see that this is 4 sections here. I'm just going to go from the top to the bottom, just with a light bit of shading with a biro pen. Now you can see that the 4 sections completely broken up, going from top to bottom. Alright, so that's taken me a matter of minutes, and you can see that I've gone from just a rough layout of the shapes, the very, very basic shapes, to a shaded area like that. Now, I have seen in class many a time students just completely rushing to get this done. You have no time scale on this, so please take your time. If you don't get the full thing finished today and you have to do 20 minutes tomorrow, so be it, but just please don't rush, okay? So once again, I'm just going to do dark on one side, and in my video where I explain about light, anthropomorphism on my other video, I've just explained like this, look, so imagine that is the sunshine or the light source or whatever you want to call it. If it's just there, look, yeah, the light is going to be coming in like that, so anything on this side is dark and then anything on this side is light. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep that same idea going across the whole thing. So you can see with this, I'm just going to use, again, just tiny little lines like that. If you go up and down, it's called hatching. If you go up and down and then left to right like this, it's called cross hatching. But if you go around like this, look, it's called contour hatching. So it's hatching with the shape of something. And once again, I'm just going to go dark up to light. So now you can see that it goes from dark to light. And then this one's a really tricky one because it's quite a large shape. So you can see that what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a really, really dark line down one side and keep that very strict. See there? So that line there is very, very strict. So when I say strict, I just mean neat. Alright? What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and show the 3D shape of the head by just curving ever so slightly like this. Okay, and then leave some gaps like that for where the eyes would be coming out. And then just here, look, is where it would be going the other way. I'm going to keep it quite central, like so. So you can see that's how I'm kind of roughly working out where my contours are going to be. It's going to be kind of straight here, look, and then slightly curved there, slightly curved there, So you can start to see that shape, can't you? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this dark line, and I'm just going to push out from that. With some really dark areas, okay? And then here. I can honestly say I haven't drawn anything with biro pen for ages. I love it, it's so scruffy. And like it's not, you don't get that crisp finish with it as you do with a fine liner, but I kind of like that. So I've got the shape now. Well, I'll talk about the shape, but I've only got it going one way. What I'm going to do now, look, is I'm going to go up and down. And what that's going to do, it's going to add that shade down one side. Okay. And then ever so lightly put an edge on it there. There we go, so there's the head. Now the last thing that I wanted to show you is how to do a wing. So there's a couple of different ways you can do a wing. You can do it with cross hatching, which is, once again, cross hatching is just where you do lines one way, so that's hatching. And then when you do the other way, that's called cross hatching. And obviously the more lines you do and the tighter they become, you create that tonal change that everyone can do with a pencil. It's exactly the same with a pen, you just do more lines. Okay, so that's one way to do it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I like to draw insects' wings, and then I'm going to show you how I shade. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shape and I am simply going to break it up into loads of different little bits. So you can see there, I'm just going to go like that, I'm just going to go like that, and I'm just going to keep going. Okay, and each shape, doesn't matter, this outline of this, it doesn't matter what happens to that, because I'm going to go over that with darker shades. Okay, kind of looks a bit fish scaly, but you'll see that the shapes are completely random, and the only thing I'm sticking to is this edge here. So you can see that I'm just trying my hardest to make sure they all go into there. Okay, so you can see there that I've just finished the whole wing with just random shapes. It is a very tedious exercise, but I think you can do it. Alright, so there's the wing. It looks really basic at this point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get these wings just sketched out like that, look. Nothing to worry about here, there's no skill involved, it's just making sure that it's just black, the shapes are covered, and they're all completed. Another reason why I absolutely love drawing in biro pen is just because you can just pick up so much speed and you can fill the spaces nice and quickly, whereas with a fine liner you're constantly going back and forwards, changing your pen to change the width, whereas with a biro you kind of get used to it and you just get stuck in real nice and quickly, and before you know it you're nearly finished your wing. Please, if I'm going too fast for anybody as well, don't forget, just pause the video and make sure that obviously you are looking and making sure that you're doing every bit right. You might have even picked an insect that hasn't got wings, and if you have, then obviously just keep going with the shading exercise so you don't need to look at the wings so intensely. Okay, so there's a wing, just normal black and white. There's no shading or anything like that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the odd there you go. So just a few odd shapes like that. Now what you're going to do with each section, you're just going to have a go at hatching and then cross hatching. So you can see that it's obviously going from dark to light. So if I just quickly do this and do a bit of contour hatching as well. Remember, contour hatching is just hatching, but when you're doing it with the curves. And then I'm going to start at the top, so that you can see I've just got a bit of tone in there. And that is how I would do a wing. Alright, so I've done a few sections there, look. To finish that whole thing, all I'm going to do is repeat that there, and then I'm going to repeat this style here, and then I'm going to repeat that over and over again until the legs are finished. That's all I would do, okay? So I don't need to show you the rest of the drawing technique because you've kind of got that. Where to go from here once you've drawn, please, you've just seen me do that in 24 minutes, so if this takes you an hour, fantastic. If you want to do 2 or 3, that's brilliant. Where are we going with this scheme of work? We are going to be turning these basic black drawings into colourful drawings if you want. If you have equipment at home that can do this, like I said to you, just have a go at doing all these different colourful kind of bits and pieces. If you don't have colour at home, that's fine. Just stick with the black. Try and do it in pencil. I've done a pencil one there. Try and draw on different things. I'm not asking you to pull your books apart, but it just works. I love tea and coffee if you splash them and then let them dry and then draw on top of them. But where are we going next with this? We are going to be turning our bug into a steampunk bug. Alright? But that's the next lesson, alright? So we'll just leave it there for now, and then when we come in next week, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at steampunk parts and then applying them to an actual bug and putting everything together. Alright? Thank you. Bye.